What up, guys? I got a solid sheet of ice. It would be better if there was some snow on top of it. Have a little traction, so we're gonna be careful. We got 3 makeup airs. Those 2 looked like they were fired. That one had an alarm. They're a Rupp Air, so not sure if anything's ever been done to them. We're gonna work our way over to that guy first and see if it's running and what's going on with it. So I got a blower. Doesn't look like I got a burner. It's been cold. I got some ice buildup on there. Let's get in here and see what we got. All right, the screwdriver and pry that thing open. Not a bad setup here. Nothing looks too out of the ordinary. It's like this is going to be return air, and it looks like it's open if that's marked correct. I do have a lockout on my flame safeguard. So we're locked out at 70, -10. We're set to 47 here. I'm guessing that's for the supplier. Not really sure on the setup of these, but we failed to fire, so we're gonna have to get in and take a peek at the burner and the belts and all that good stuff. Filters are clean. So let's get inside of that burner and see what we got there. Slightly loose belts. Nothing too unusual with the wheel. It looks normal. So we can adjust those. Let's see if we can't. There's a little bit of dirt in that bottom one. Doesn't look too bad. The low pressure side is going to be behind the burner. Burner doesn't look too terribly bad either. I don't see any of the holes in the center that are blocked or anything like that, so burner ought to fire. So we got our belts adjusted, the bolts locked back down. We're getting tight now. I recommend you take a tape measure and get this evened out, because you don't want to adjust the front or the back one way or the other and you get cockeyed. You'll wear one of your belts a little differently. This one's pretty straight. I'm happy with it for right now. Let's see if it fires. Here's my damper. So that damper was open. It looks like that damper is going to close for my return air, and it's opening the top outside air. Once they hit their in switch, you should get airflow. Blower come on. That was the blower. All right, so I know I got airflow now. And there goes my burner. I can't see a goddamn thing. I don't think my burner did go, but I've got airflow. So now we climb inside a little bit further. Let's get over close to that burner. There's an access panel on the back side, but I just want to get over and look for right now. I got my pilot access off. Disconnected everything. This whole pilot assembly will come out. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but there's actually nuts on the back of these screws, so you'll strip them out. If you sit here and try to undo these, you ain't gonna get it without their 3/8 nuts. So we can get back there and get these screws loosened up. Let's pull that pilot out of there. I could see it from the other side. I couldn't get real close to it, but this my pilot tubing I think might be plugged. So let's get that off there and take a look. So here we are, pilot assembly pulled, and we do have, you can see, it's like my spark goes there on the top, but there's tiny little hole right there that's got some crap in it and plugged up. So we're gonna go ahead and just clean all this up, get an abrasive cloth, no sandpaper or anything, obviously, just like you would a flame sensor, and just clean all that real well. Probably pull our copper tubing there and just make sure all that's clear. And I bet this guy fires after that. So that looks a little better. Got it all cleaned up. You can see right through that hole now. Which was completely plugged up. That hole goes through both sides. So that's where the gas is going to come through, is those little tiny holes. Spark's going to be right here. And once it ignites the pilot first and then goes to the main valve. This could all have been caught with a little preventive maintenance, but the only other thing to keep in mind is if you're going to pull these out, make sure you mark them, because spark gap and where everything sits in here is very critical on whether this thing's going to fire or not. You get it off just a little bit, this thing may intermittently have problems or may not fire at all. So let's go get it back in, see if this guy works now. Now let's see if we did any good. Let's see if we can actually see anything in here. See my damper opening. There's moisture inside there. It's been so cold outside, and you get warm air inside. It's condensating. I'd like to clean this up, but it is a thin piece of plastic. I actually took this off for a second, but I didn't want to damage it, so it is what it is. It ought to dry out as soon as this thing fires. Still can't see the damn thing. We do got a pilot now. All right, and we got fire. So we're gonna watch this guy, make sure nothing weird happens. We look like we're good everywhere. You don't want to mess with none of these discharge temps or anything. Honestly, you can play with some of these temperature switches here. This is gonna be, but we're not gonna mess with anything right now. So I think 70 is gonna cut the burner off. Anything above 70, it says okay, you can't heat. This one's on -10, and I'm not sure what that's for. I'd have to read up on it. But this one's 47, and I think that is, if we get below 47, it cuts the whole thing off, just to keep it from blowing cold air into space. So looking pretty good. You can kind of see a burner. So I'm gonna work my way back and make sure these are firing. We're probably gonna go through and at least just adjust the belts on them. They need to do some preventive maintenance on these things, so we're gonna recommend that to them. And I'm not gonna go through and pull the burners on each one of these unless I have to. If they're running, they'll get belts adjusted, and then we'll get the hell out of here. Let them know that they need to have these things taken care of, because that's a simple fix with new belts or adjusted belts and a clean flame sensor and pilot tubing. Easy fix. Be careful when you're walking up here, guys. Cut that gas off enough. You're walking by and your leg just clips that. Let's see what this one's doing. We do have a blower. Okay, it was hard to see, but this one is operating. We're gonna go ahead and open the gas valve all the way. I can just barely see the burner. These things are hard to see, man. The glare and the dust inside those things. I wish they made sight glasses a little better. So let's go ahead and make sure that's open. We'll come back to it and check the belts because it's running. Let's go check that guy out. Another hard to see one, but I don't think it's fired either. Well, I got no lockout. So this is turned down to 50. Actually, it's supposed to be 47. Yeah, I can't see a damn thing because of that sun, so that's fine. I was thinking these, make sure they're set the same. It says negative 15 because these are different, and we will check the other one as well to make sure. High limit was stripped. We'll check the setting on that too. It's at 160. That seems a little low. We fired off. Yeah, she fired. Well, you can't see. You got more ice on that one. So we're going to watch for a little bit. We're going to make sure we check this one out real good. We're going to make sure, because some of these settings were different, that kind of that throws up a red flag. Somebody's been up here turning some knobs. They didn't know really what they was doing. So we're going to make sure that one's the same. They do have the settings on them. So besides this one, that's the inlet that's going to cut it off at a certain temperature. The one was on 70. This one's on 60, which is probably more normal. But these are actually marked with a negative 15 and a 47. So we're going to get those set correctly, because that's factory stickers. So we'll go from there. So we just reset it again. This burner's not modulating. It's hard for y'all to see, but that's a big ass flame. It should be modulating back via the maxitrol selector here. So we're gonna have to dig into that one, because this thing's gonna trip again. It doesn't look like anything's really been adjusted up here, so we could have a problem with our TS-144. Oh yeah, we're on fire. It's like it's stuck in high fire. So TS-144 is basically a temp sensor, and it communicates back with the maxitrol selectra and tells the burner to modulate up or down depending on, the belts are pretty tight on that one, depending on the supply air temperature. Everything else looks fairly normal. All the pallets probably need to be cleaned, but I don't know why this one's not modulating. So let's start digging in and figure out why. Alright, so we pulled our TS-144 cover off. Everything looks good, good and tight. I'm gonna put that back on there. I have ohmed out with them removed, they plug on to 1, 2, and 3 here, and we ohm out. Basically, all it says in the book is ohm out greater than 2,500 ohms, and they do. So we are going to try to set the high fire, which is basically in our selectra valve here. We've got low fire is down here, and then high fire is right there in this little regulator, if you can see that. And basically it tells you to consult your temperature rise, which we've got a temperature rise, design temperature rise 80 degrees. So I'm about 30-ish outside right now. So 80, 110 or so, 115. I'm going to take this panel off and see, just to make sure I don't hit anything inside. This is a damper access for the supply damper, and try to get a temp probe over here. That way I can read my temperature, because I have no other real way of doing it. But hopefully we can get this thing adjusted, because that seems to ohm out okay. Now I know they did have, and this was on a Cambridge unit, so I don't know if they're the same, but maxitrol. For a certain year, they had some issues with their TS44s and the selectras. I called Cambridge one day on a fairly new Cambridge unit, and it was just erratic firing. You get high fire, low fire. It's just the burner was going crazy. You could tell something was wrong. As soon as I called, I gave him the serial number. He said, "Oh yeah, we had a bad run on those," and sent me a new 144 and a selector. So we may have something going on there with these two, but we're going to try to adjust first. It doesn't look like anybody's been in here playing with anything, so we'll see what we can do and see if we can't get our temp rise down. Looks like basically we're going to remove number 2 and number 4, I think it said. And when we remove 2 and 4, that's going to set us in high fire. Low fire I'm not terribly concerned about. Just want to adjust my high fire right now. We can worry about the others after, but because it looks like it's stuck in high fire for some reason. It was a big old burner. So we're in high fire. I adjusted it. I backed off of it, way off of it, so I can adjust in. I'd rather be low right now than high. And 97. That looks like a whole lot better burner. It still looks like it might be over fired a bit. I'm looking at about 115 is going to be just assuming I'm 35 outside. I was showing like 40, but I'd rather be on the low side than the high side. We're just watching. We're gonna make sure we don't hit that one anything over 115. Looks pretty good now. And then we're gonna go through, make sure it modulates. So I think this is going to get it running for right now, but we need to still dig into the TS144. We shouldn't really have to adjust these things, and if it's not modulating, it doesn't need to be in high fire all the time. So we've got something going on there still. I have to put my burner, these on is in local, so they should be off normally. And then we got 2 and 4 disconnected, which put us in high fire. Looking at 104 right now, so that's gonna be pretty close. We're gonna watch for a little while and then go from there. All right, so we got her set. Done 113. It's been running for about 10-15 minutes, so I'm gonna be happy with that for right now. All right, so what we did was I pulled terminal 7, which actually puts me in low fire. You can see we're burner modulated back. I'm at 46 degrees. So basically, there's no table for resistance on that TS144 that's in there. So I had to call Rupp Air, but they were quick to answer the phone and helpful, so I'll give them some props. Basically, we pulled it, put it in a low fire, saw what our temperature got to, and the table that they had to con maxitrol out of, we took terminals 2 and 3 off, and then you ohm out between 1 and 2 and 1 and 3, which is just exactly what I did to test my sensor first thing. But they don't tell me, it just says it should be over 2,500 ohms. It doesn't tell you what ohm rating it actually should be. So nonetheless, the sensor's out of whack, so that's why it's stuck in high fire. It thinks it's cold. So we're gonna leave it like this right now. It was in high fire and doing okay. I was still maintaining that 115 degrees. So we'll have to play with that and adjust back once we get the new sensor. But I've got to get a sensor. This should be all right for right now. So just another couple makeup airs and a whole bunch of ice, guys. It feels like my life this winter. Let me know what y'all think. Leave me a comment. Leave the trade better than you found it. I'll see you guys next time. You're starting to get slick. It's about 10 degrees warmer already. Those two guys are still heating. And we've got a TS144. So we're gonna throw it in this guy and reset everything. So we got the old one pulled out. There's the old one compared to the new. So we just keep my wires hooked up. I want to make sure wires go back on the correct terminals. And we'll get this guy installed in here and go through the same process to start it back up. Set the high fire and then wire the control back in and burner auto modulate normally. We've removed terminals 2 and 4, and that's going to put us in high fire. As soon as my damper goes open, we will once again adjust our high fire to we're about 40 something degrees outside right now, so I'm gonna be shooting for about 120, and we'll set that high fire and then hook our wires back up and let it modulate. So there's our high fire. We'll give it a minute, see where our temperature gets, see what we need to adjust. You can see we're 101. So we're gonna adjust just a little bit at a time. Get that up to that 115 to 120. It does have a rating of 120 as maximum temperature, so probably gonna stop about 115 or so. Should all be fine once it's modulating correctly. Right at that 114, 115 mark, I'm gonna call that good. Leave it be. Let's hook our wires back up and watch our burner modulate. Alright, so wires hooked back up. Burner's still on. Let's go see where our supply temp is. Still looks like a pretty good flame, but like I said, it's cold out here. You can see it's modulating. I'm at 104 degrees. So with that maximum of 120, we're right on our mark. So I'm happy with it. We're gonna call this one good. We're modulating. We'll watch it a little while longer. I gotta tidy up my stuff and clean all this stuff up. Make sure I got my cap back on. Everything gets secured. So let me know what y'all think, guys. This one was a little bit interesting, a little more interesting than the pilot, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad. The other one was still running, so I didn't really do a whole lot with that one. The belts were tight, so we're gonna leave it be. Let them know they need to do some maintenance at some point. Leave me a comment. Let me know what y'all think. Leave the trade better than you found it, guys. See y'all next time.